Awesome. Sink those hips back to the heels. Your favorite variation of child's pose is most welcome and encouraged. So you can have the knees a little closer together. You could try something different today too. Seed pose is an option. You can bring knees together, you fold over the legs, arms to the sides. Sometimes it just feels really nice for releasing the traps, the upper neck, the shoulders. Sometimes it doesn't feel comfortable or just awkward for your body, so no worries. What's this best variation of child's pose today? And as we breathe into our first pose, I want you to breathe into the areas where you're feeling it most, that sensation in the body. You could call it a stretch, you could call it discomfort, but let's just call it sensation for the moment. We'll send the breath there. And then also, as you breathe, I'd like you to anchor into this moment. So each breath, a reminder to arrive in the here and now. Notice what you've carried on the mat with you today. The good, the bad, the in-between. It's all part of you. We'll also seek to release and to let go of some of that heavier stuff that's not serving us on the mat. We don't need it here. It's our time to restore, breathe, open and move the body in different ways and release some of that heavy stuff. Let's take another 3 full breaths. Wonderful. When you're done, those 3, if you're not in the wide leg child's pose, take your knees wider. Right arm threads underneath the left. Thread a needle for a few breaths. Left arm reaches forward, soften through the shoulders. Find that steady inhale and exhale. And take one more solid breath here. And then start to unwind from that side, extending out through the right arm, left arm threads under the right. Drop all the way into that left shoulder. Breathe steady. Notice if you're clenching anywhere, holding up that right shoulder, left shoulder, excuse me, and really relax into it. Soften everything. Good, one more breath together. And then slowly start to unwind. Make your way up into your tabletop if you want for a moment. You might stretch out the legs, roll that ankle. They were compressed a little in that last pose. Find the tabletop. Start to move through cat-cow. Inhale, heart forward, gaze forward. Exhale, curl and round to cat, look towards the belly. Inhale, offer the heart. Exhale, curl and round. And so this can feel good. Just staying here in these classic flexions, extensions. But we know there's more. You can make it more dynamic. So you'd like to cat, hips to heels, scoop on through. And you might just feel like you want to play with it a little today. So you do some flexions, extensions, and then you roll your spine in one way and the other. Good. So you don't have to be doing the exact same as knees. You might dip into shoulder, roll it out. You might just be continuing with those flexions, extensions. That feels great today. Even pausing on one for a breath or two. So I find cat pose feels good. If I hold it for a breath or two, releasing the neck, the traps. About 3 more rounds of whatever movement you've chosen. Beautiful. When you're done, those 3, just come on up. Either stand on the knees or sit to the heels. Roll out those wrists a few times in one direction. And then up the other. Beautiful. Back to our tabletop pose. We'll make our way into down dog. Spread the fingers wide. Tuck the toes. Lift the hips up high. Downward facing dog. Shake that head. Yes and no. As we head into almost spring, as we get to this tail end of winter, we start to, get these brighter sunny days like today. That's where I am. Hopefully it is where you are. You start to feel a little more energy rising up within us. That's the spring energy, or what we say in the Chinese elements, the wood energy, which rises, it grows up. Let's take another breath or two here. And then start to walk forward into a forward fold. I like to take my legs a little wider, kinder to my hamstrings. But you can have feet hip width apart. Just know your body, because you're quite flexible through the back, the hamstrings. You might have the feet shoulder width apart here. And that feels quite good for you. So where is that stretch? Without strain. Roll it through the shoulders. Shake the head gently, yes and no. Grab for opposite elbow with opposite hand. Let's take 3 side breaths. Inhale. You then start to heel toe the feet together if they're not already. Hip width apart. Press through the feet. Slowly begin to roll on up to standing. Find that tall mountain pose. Softly close through the eyes. Turn the palms forward. Roll the shoulders down the back. Breathe steady. So right now we're actually in the transition phase. Let's just hold our breath, or not hold our breath, let's concentrate on the breath. So you might take hands on the belly, maybe one on chest, one on belly. If you find it challenging to get it into lower abdomen, we've had a lot of stress lately where the breath is rising, hands to belly. Let's feel that. So everything just relax and soften on the inhale. And the exhale, you hug up and in. Pelvic floor slightly engages. Navel to spine, just as if you were very gently stopping yourself from peeing. That's the pelvic floor muscles, a very light kegel. Inhale, soften. Exhale, hug up from the pelvic diaphragm, pelvic floor, navel to spine. A few more breaths here. Settle into it. And again, arms can be your side if you feel that movement quite good. As I was saying, we're in the transition phase, transitioning from winter to spring. It can be very hard. So it's like another change in our lives. And we as humans don't necessarily like change. We find a pattern, we like it, we feel in the groove. Something changes, like, next thing. So even though we can be excited about spring, it can stir up things within us, kind of pull up some of our imbalances, our emotions. That's okay. That's why we have yoga. That's why we have breath. meditation. Well, let's just be aware of that this time of year. Good. Inhale, reach the arms up. Interlace fingers, cross thumbs, release index fingers. We have our steeple mudra or Charlie's angel mudra. I like my feet together for half moon. You can bring them hip width apart or together. Upper body to the right, hips to the left. I'll hear you. Inhale, rise tall. Exhale to the left, hips to the right. Inhale. Exhale. And swing from side to side. Keep length in the spine as we warm up that lateral flexion of our spine. We feel the ribs open up, the side body open up. Beautiful. Next time, upper body draws to the left. Come on back through center. Release the arms down. Roll the shoulders a few times up and back, just nice and slow. Remember, gentle yoga. And it doesn't matter what age, stage, or level of practice you're at. Gentle practice is so key because it helps us slow down or release some of those excess aches and pains. Good. Vrikshasana, tree pose. Always got to do this one. Bring the weight over into the left foot, right toes to the mat, the calf or inner thigh. Press the foot into leg, leg into foot. So you're going to feel those legs hug up and in. Hands palm to palm at the heart center. Steady belly breaths. Start to feel some nice length through your spine. And you want to change up that variation with the arms. So as we're in our poses, we're still feeling that breath as best we can. Softening on the inhale. Do your best not to stress about the breath if you can't feel it. That's kind of defeating the purpose, right? So you're just letting everything kind of soften, kind of spill out. Feel that little Buddha belly, right? And then exhale. Hug up from pelvic floor, navel to spine. A strong muscle is one that can relax and contract. It's not just constantly tight, right? A constant tight muscles say like traps. That's where I hold a lot of tension. It's not necessarily a strong muscle if it's just in constant tension. That it can also be a weak muscle as well. Take one more breath. Gather hands to heart. Track the knee and foot to floor. Roll out standing ankle if you choose. Let's bring all the way over into right foot, left toes to that calf or inner thigh. Actively pressing foot into leg, leg into foot. So get that first. Really feel it. Press your foot in. Press your leg back in. Feel the inner thighs engage. That knee, so your left knee, as it draws back, if you start to feel pain or strain through hip, low back, do a bit less. The knee might point forward a bit more, okay? So finding the best pose for you. It's not going to look exactly like mine or maybe what it did for you a month ago or a year ago because your body has changed. You might be in a fuller expression through the hip. The knee might open up. Something might have happened. You have to do a little bit less. Listen to where you're at today. Play with it if you'd like. Especially if you're feeling frustrated. Let's sway that tree from side to side. Good to create some lighter energy in our life, in our heart. 2 slight upward curves either side of your mouth. Good, 2 more breaths. Let that tree wobble if it will, if it needs to. Okay, when you're done, you're to draw that knee and foot to floor, roll out the standing ankle. Beautiful. Surya Namaskar. So we're going to do a pretty slower sun salutation than you would in our other practices and add a few things in as we're there. Come to the top of your mat. Reach those arms up. Look up. Get a gentle back bend. So lift the heart, look up. That might be enough. And if you feel okay, keep opening up, leaning back. Keep length. So lift up out of the spine. Lengthen that lumbar spine. One more breath. Beautiful. Exhale, slight bend in knees. Exhale, bow forward. Uttanasana, forward fold. Gently shake that head out, yes and no, and roll out through your shoulders. Awesome. Inhale to a halfway lift. Nice flat back, long spine. Hug in through the belly. Exhale, bow forward. Fingertips in line with toes. Right foot steps back to a lunge. Left knee is over that left ankle. Heart pulls forward as the right heel presses back. So we want you to feel a really long line. Engage the back leg. Feel strength in this pose. Just because we move slower doesn't mean it lacks strength. Take one more breath. Pause, connect to the earth. Press back, high plank. Feet are hip width distance apart. Really engage. Zip up through those legs. Zip up through the core. You have the option here to come to knees, but still hug in through the belly. Breathe deep, breathe strong. Hold here for 3, 2, and on 1. Elbows in nice and tight. Lower all the way down to the mat with control. Bring the feet together. Press into the tops of feet. Bhujangasana, baby cobra. Inhale, lift up head, chest, shoulders, just using the low back muscles. Pull the heart forward and the heels of the hands pull towards the back of the mat. Good. Keep that nice, strong breath. Good. Opening up. We're going to hold it here. 5, 4, 3, 2. On 1, come on back. Child's pose. Just for 3 breaths. Sink hips to heels. Arms reach forward. You can even press the hands into the floor to press the mat away from you. Encouraging hips back to the heels. A little more length in the spine. When you're done your 3 breaths, pop right back up to tabletop. Tuck the toes. Lift the hips high, downward dog. 3 more breaths in down dog. Pedal it out if you feel you'd like to, need to. You can even play with maybe taking feet off the mat, walking them out there. Good. And bring feet hip width apart if they're not already there. Step right foot next to right thumb into lunge. Knee over the ankle, light on the fingertips. Back leg nice and strong. Next, exhale, step your left foot out. Forward fold. Sink on into a deep inhale. Nice long exhale. Soften a bit more. Next inhale, rise up, halfway lift. Long spine, flat back. Belly in. Exhale, bow. Press to your feet, roll all the way up to standing. Arms reach, work into that back bend again. Lift the heart. Look up. Strong breath. Exhale, slight bend in knees, bow forward. Inhale, lift halfway. Long spine, flat back. Exhale, bow. Good. Inhale, lifting, lengthening. Exhale, down. Let's step that left foot back into a lunge. And plant your left hand to the floor. Inhale, right arm reaches. Opening up the chest. Take one more breath. Right hand comes to the inside edge of the right foot. Now walk your right foot wide. Left knee drops down for your dragon lunge. Sink the hips down and forward. Option to come to forearms if that feels good for you. You can also wing your dragon by rolling to the outside edge of the right foot. So that pad of the foot is open and exposed. And you feel a little different opening through right hip. And we're just going to count up 3 more breaths here. Take nice full breaths, helping to release and open through those hips. Some of those hip muscles are secondary to respiration, so after the abs move, the hip muscles get a little movement. So we can breathe into that hip, almost quite literally. When you're done those few breaths, start to make your way back. Just nice and easy, draw that right knee back next to the left. Walk forward into plank from the knees, 4 toes, with control, lower to the mat. Cobra, baby cobra to start. You can either stay there if the back is feeling strong today, lift up into king cobra, or lift shins, knees, thighs for up dog. Hold for 3, 2, And 1. Tuck your toes, lift the hips high, downward facing dog. 2 more breaths here. Notice how as we slow the movements, and we don't lose the benefit by any means, but we can also feel the breath in our poses. Awesome. Let's take our left foot, step it next to the left thumb. If you need a moment to roll the wrist, please do. Giving them some weight today. Ground down through that right hand. Inhale, lift the left arm. Looking up, forward, or even down. There's no point in straining the neck and just creating more tension. 1 more breath together. Beautiful. Plant your left hand to inside edge of left foot. Heel toe the left foot wide. Take that right knee down. Dragon lunge, low flying dragon. So you can even come up onto your fists if the wrists need a little break at this point. When you're dragon, if you'd like, roll to the outside edge of left foot. Some of you might comfortably come down to the forearms. Relax the head and breathe. Find that full breath. So softening on the inhale through the belly. Exhale, you can practice hugging up gently from that pelvic diaphragm or pelvic floor muscles and then navel to spine. Three more breaths here. Beautiful. When you're done, those three, start to draw the hips back. Draw that through the right foot. We're going to land right back in our child's pose. Again, variation is up to you. You can do a wide-legged C pose as well, which is knees wide, forehead to the earth, arms to your sides. So let's just settle in, ground the body once again. You can have one ear down on the mat. And be aware of what has changed, what has upgraded since the beginning of our practice, since your first child's pose today. Just take maybe 3 to 5 more breaths. The pose feels really good for you. You're always welcome to stay in it longer than I instruct. Good, start to make your way up. Nice and slow, no rush. Let's take our legs out from underneath us. Give them a little shake. You can flex, extend the toes. we'll work into Janu Shasana, head to knee, with Paschimottanasana and full forward fold. Start with our right leg extended and our left foot to the inner right thigh. I purchased myself a more colorful mat because I always wear black. That's on my to-do list this month. Look towards that right foot. Reach up through the arms. Hug in through the belly. Exhale, bow forward. We'll flow this a few times. Inhale, reach up. Lengthen. Exhale, bow. Good. Inhale. Exhale. Just feel that wave in the spine. A few more times. Roll it up. Exhale, bow forward. And then feel the spine roll up again. Fingertips graze here. Do that a few more times until you just kind of feel like, oh, enough. Let me bow into it. Or just coaxing, encouraging the fascia of the body. That connective tissue to be like, give in a little bit more. And then when you're ready, bow right in. You can grip the foot. I'm not feeling that today. I feel a bit stiff. So I like the variation of hands under my calf. You can ground the hands onto the floor. If you have a strap or a towel, that can be around the feet. So it's about finding that kind of sweet spot for you. And not worrying about what it should be, but rather kind of tap into what it could be. So what could this pose be if you let go of those harsh judgments as to what your pose needs to be, has been in the past, comparing yourself to someone else. And let's bow in, breathe in. Find where it feels good today. Where can you send the breath to open up those stiffer areas? Those areas that work hard for us. So just think of yourself as adding some TLC. It's not bad. I don't know, those areas of the body, they're doing their job and sometimes working overtime. So here we're going to give them that TLC. Some deep breath, some long held yin poses to help flow that energy back through those more depleted areas. Yeah, we got this. We're going to hold about 5 more deep breaths. And when you're done those 5, just nice and slow, 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 slow. Walk the hands up either side of your hips. You might just take a moment. Sitting up tall, rolling the neck a little. Nice and slow. Good. Switching sides. Left leg extend up. Right foot to the inner left thigh. Looking towards that left leg. Let's flow it a little again with that wave-like motion, arms tall. Think of yourself as a ballerina. Embrace that inner ballerina. Exhale, bow. Raise the fingertips along the floor. Inhale, rest. Exhale. Again, same thing. When you feel ready to bow into that pose, please do. And on this side, it might be a little different from the right. Are you taking the grip? Are you lightly pressing into the hands? Park them under the calf. And what is that right pose for you today in this moment? And you can play around. You can play around with flexing the left toes back towards you, really pressing through the heel. It's going to stretch out the left leg more. You can also relax it a little. So make it a bit more yin. Relax that leg, that ankle, just let the foot hang out. And the body might even soften a bit more on the exhales. And there's nothing wrong with experimenting with both variations. I know when I first started practicing, and probably actually for years after, my teachers are really adamant about foot being flexed. Others say relaxed. What is it? Well, it's both. It depends on what style, what feels best in the body for that moment. And then I also realized some teachers are just very adamant about doing things one way. Look in that chin, tuck in towards more towards the chest, head bow forward. Breathe into those areas that need that TLC, that extra energy. Fill them up. They've been working hard for you. About 5 more full breaths here. You need to walk that through your hands. Find that tall spine, find some gentle movement. When you feel ready, both legs come together. Paschimottanasana. Full forward fold. It's not my favorite pose, as some of you know, which just means I have to do it more. All right, let's see, hamstrings are mine. So knees can be back, and I'll definitely be taking out option. Legs might be straight for you. You can take fleshy part of the bum and kind of pull it back so you're putting yourself right on those hip bones, the bony part of your bum. Lengthen. We'll do the same thing. We'll lengthen up nice and tall. You can put cushions under the knees as well. There we go, that one here. Lengthen tall. Exhale, bow into it. Inhale, reach up. So we'll do that wave motion again. Exhale, bow. So this is working the fascial lines, as I mentioned, that connective tissue, which run all throughout the body. And long lines. So we're working that superficial back line. And It runs from the eyebrows over the back of the head, down the back, so the legs connect right out to the toes. And we're going to mess that movement up. So that's pretty cool. So as you bow your head forward, you might feel it more in your calves, your hamstrings. This practice is making me sleepy. When you're ready, you can start to bow it. Not a bad thing. It means my body needs more rest. Surprise, surprise. Bow on into it. Tag that chin in towards the chest. And you can I'm going to let my ankles relax here. You do you. Do you want to flex them? Is that making it feel better? So we're not in a full on yin practice. We're doing shorter holds. Those traditional yin classics say relax everything. Let that body soften. So my focus as I hold this pose, since it is a nemesis of mine, is to breathe into where I feel it most and encourage an opening in those spaces. In those spaces and places. So it's also a matter of releasing the resistance to the pose, of calming the mind with the breath, just focusing solely on the breath rather than developing any story about this pose, and why I don't like it, and where I would rather be. So it could be the same for you in this pose, maybe not, but there's definitely a pose in our practice that you will feel similar in. Maybe not today, but definitely there, you know your poses. Your nemesis. There's our greatest opportunity for growth and release, because that's where we hold the tension, the discomfort. Take a few more breaths here. Let's count at least 3 more inhales, 3 more exhales. And when you're done those few breaths, walk your way up again, nice and slow. We'll make it onto our backs now. Roll on back for a little mini nap, but if there is a pose, and maybe you want to hug knees in, rock a little. If there's one more pose you're wanting, needing, craving, please take that now. I haven't done a floor twist today, so I'm like to end in that. If you've got acute, so like actively it is in the moment, low back pain today, twists, especially deeper twists like on the floor, aren't really recommended. You might pile cushions under the legs and get a gentle twist, that's okay. But you don't want to throw off what's going on in the low back or maybe in those SI joints, and twists can do that. So be mindful of that. If you're ready to go right into final Savasana, feet wide, knees touching, is an option to support the lumbar curve, low back, or extend the legs on out into your full Savasana. Breathe steady. And just feel your whole body soften into the earth. Like each point of contact you have with the mat, and let the body drop even heavier. Follow the in and out of the breath, just as we did in our poses. Tongue releases from the roof of the mouth, teeth are slightly separated, lips gently closed. I invite you to stay and breathe. And enjoy these sweet moments. Especially if you have the time and space and you feel kind of anchored and glued to the mat, let yourself be here. If you're wanting to head on with your day, very slow movements. So we'll take a few breaths in fetal position, maybe even a few movements before that. Once you had your few breaths in fetal position and feel ready, press into the top hands. Making your way to seated. Maybe you're doing this now, or you do this when you choose to get up on your own. But nice and slow, nice and mindful. When you arrive in a seated position, few breaths, maybe even longer. You can find a meditative state perhaps to observe. As we kind of just observe and not so clung on to ideas and thoughts and movements, our intuition opens up. Ideas pour in. Clarity shines through. So I wish you so much peace, abundance, and blessings today. As always, namaste.